Welcome, everyone. My name is Julie Muse, one of the coaches here at the Vexelman Method, and I wanted to speak to you today about understanding purchase contracts. It's very important that you understand this contract line by line and the overall intent of this contract. The contract that we're going to be going to be in your resources tab within the website, so you'll be able to get a hold of this and tailor it for your specific needs. This contract can be used whether or not you're choosing to wholesale a property, whether you're wanting to buy it and hold it, or whether you're wanting to fix and flip the property. So it's important that you understand line by line what this contract says so that you're able to explain it to sellers. The beautiful thing about this contract is that it's very simple and it's very user-friendly for both you and your sellers. So let's go ahead and get to it, guys. So this is an overview of the first page of the contract, and we're going to be going through it line by line, but I just wanted to show it to you all in whole. First and second page. So really, guys, it's only a two-page contract, so it's very, very simple here. So let's go ahead and get started with the very, very beginning. So this is the very first paragraph. So obviously it's dated this blank day of the month that you're in, 2017. Then you see the next line here where it's got the buyer. That's where you will place your buying entity. I suggest to you guys that you open up an LLC and put your properties under contract within an LLC. If you do not already have an LLC, it's very, very inexpensive to get one. I suggest you go ahead and get to work on that right now. You can pay an attorney to do it. You can do it online yourself. It's up to you. But that LLC name will go here. You're the buyer and the seller. That is going to be everybody that's on the title. So if it's John Smith, it's just John Smith. Maybe it's John and Teresa Smith. Just make sure that everyone that is on the title is in this particular line right here. And then we're looking for the contract for the sale of the property located at blank, 123 Main Street. Okay, so you want to pull this all out. Also, this line is very, very important. Excuse me, let me go back. This line is very, very important right here where it says this contract is fully assignable. You do not want to scratch that out if you're on an appointment and someone does not want that in there. If you are choosing to wholesale this property, that particular sentence must be in your contract. Purchase price. The purchase price paid by the buyer in U.S. funds will be in the amount of blank. Whatever number you have agreed to within that, on that appointment, maybe it's $50,000, $100,000, hopefully the best deal you ever had. So next, it's terms, cash at closing. So we'll go ahead and get into the meat of it. Contingencies. This is the time in which you have to inspect the property and basically the amount of time that you have to back out of this contract if you choose not to purchase the home. Or if you are wholesaling the property, the amount of time that you have to wholesale the property before you are out of due diligence. Due diligence and contingency period is basically the same exact thing. So let's go over the property inspection period. This paragraph, the property inspection, buyer at buyer's expense shall have blank business days after the acceptance hereof to have the property and all of its improvements, fixtures, and equipment inspected. Seller shall cooperate in making the property reasonably available for the inspectors. Buyer's due diligence period does not start until the day of inspection. There's a couple important key factors in here that we've added to this contract. Number one is business days. What that does is that is going to give you more than just the allotted days that you're going to put within that line, which is really, really helpful, especially if you're wholesaling. Then, buyer's due diligence period does not start until the day of inspection. A lot of times whenever you're putting properties under contract that have a tenant involved, sometimes it's hard to get in. And I don't want to put a house under contract in my due diligence period, start the day I put it under contract, and then not be able to get in there for 2 weeks and take the photos and figure out how much it's going to cost to get it fixed up. So those are very, very important sentences within this period. So guys, make sure you're not scratching off any of these things when you're on the appointment. If you're wholesaling, try to get 30 business days here. A lot of sellers will balk at that. And at times I will go down to 15 business days depending on how good the deal is. So really, this is one of the most important things on this contract, is that's the amount of time that you have to resell the home if you are wholesaling. And if you're looking to fix and flip it, you need to have enough time to get your property inspector in there, your rehab numbers in, and possibly even an appraisal, especially if you're getting a hard money loan. So the more days there, the better you have. Now, a lot of sellers will balk at this and say, you're going to close quickly. You said you were going to close quickly. Well, look, it doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer and not in investment real estate. You're going to have an inspection period. It's very, very important. You want to make sure you're not buying something that you haven't had time to take a look at. Buyer agrees to indemnify and hold seller harmless from any injury or damage caused by the inspection. If buyer is not satisfied with the condition of the property as disclosed by the inspection, the buyer may terminate this contract by delivered notice of such written termination to seller within the time frame set up forth in this paragraph. So, what that's telling you is, number one, if you go in there and get hurt, you're holding the seller harmless from you being able to do anything to them. Also, it's telling them that you can really back out of the contract if for some reason it doesn't meet your specifications, i.e. it needs more work than it needs, or maybe it's not a deal that you can wholesale and you figure that out throughout the time that you've had it in the due diligence period. Buyer is responsible for their own typical closing cost. Closing costs include the buyer's and seller's closing fee, title insurance, real estate taxes, transfer fees, and all fees associated with the buyer getting a free and clear title. What is that telling you? It's telling you that you're paying all the closing costs for that individual seller. It does not say you're paying off liens or back taxes. It's talking about title insurance and closing fees here. So sometimes sellers will think that your price is above and beyond what their liens and maybe some of their judgment and things are, but it's not. Your sellers are responsible for paying those at closing, and their proceeds will be the net between the two. Okay, title insurance will be paid by the buyer. Taxes will be prorated to the date of sale, and buyer will be given a credit at closing for any and all unpaid real estate taxes together with any and all penalties and interest. So let's say you buy the property in March. The seller is responsible for the taxes January through March. You are responsible for the taxes March through the end of the year. If you are wholesaling and you are assigning it, you're not responsible for any of the taxes. That's going to be paid by the actual buyer, or what I call the BC side of the deal. The AB side of the deal is between the seller and you. The BC side of the deal is between the actual investor and the seller, or the actual seller and the investor. So the actual buyer and or investor within a wholesale deal is responsible for the end of the year prorated taxes. Deed. Seller will provide a marketable title via a general warranty deed with release of title to buyer or buyer's designee, free and clear of all liens unless otherwise noted. Basically, if you can't provide a clear title, clear of all liens, clear of all tax liens, anything that might be, they have to be able to provide that clear title whenever it's closed. And it's also saying, look, both parties have had an opportunity to seek legal counsel to advise them in this transaction. Broker representation. Both parties warrant that they are not represented in this transaction by a licensed real estate broker or agent, and no funds from this sale will be paid to a licensed real estate broker or agent. Because you are going directly with the seller, you are not paying a real estate agent on this transaction. This line is just letting you know that neither you nor the seller is using a real estate broker and or agent on this deal. Closing date. The parties agree that the closing will take place on or before blank business days from the date of acceptance. That's the date in which they sign the contract. I really like to get 45 days here. And guys, if you notice this again, it's business days. Those are beautiful little words within this contract that gives me more time to resell this property if I'm choosing to wholesale it. Also, if I'm choosing to buy it or buy, fix it, and sell it, it's giving me more time to make those critical decisions that I need to make. Fixtures. This sale shall include any and all fixtures to the property, including but not limited to heating, air conditioning equipment, built-in appliances, curtains, curtain rods, attached carpet, attached mirrors and lights, screen doors, TV reception system, outbuildings. So I've had this happen before where I've purchased a property from someone and they decided to take all of the appliances with them, the built-in appliances. They decided to take out light fixtures. And I had to go back after them for those items. And actually, I reduced the price of my purchase contract because my contract clearly states you cannot remove fixtures from the house that I am purchasing. You are purchasing that property with all fixtures in place. All right? All representations and warranties of the property are set forth in this contract and shall survive the closing. There are no representation or agreements of the parties that have been incorporated into this agreement. This agreement and all provisions hereof shall be binding upon and inure to the benefit of the parties hereto and their respective heirs, executors, administrative, legal representation, successors, and permitted assigns. This is the money line here, guys, if you're looking to wholesale properties. Marketing. Investor is authorized to market and advertise a property for sale in any media of broker's choosing, including the internet, multiple listing services, and an attempt to procure buyers for the property in cooperation with real estate brokers, investors, and affiliated licensees. So if you're reading that line with me, guys, that's what allows you to pre-market someone's property prior to the closing date. This line is very, very, very important. I actually pre-market my properties on the MLS with real estate agents, and this line is what ties everything together. So I never remove this unless I'm actually purchasing the property. If you are wholesaling the property, you have to have this particular segment in your contract. Special stipulations is used, and you can add to your special stipulations anything you might need. So if a property is currently rented, but you want to have it empty at closing, it may say buyer has the right to have the property delivered empty before closing. I always put my closing attorney and or title company here that I want to use for this deal. So I just want it all in the contract. So any special stipulations that you need, go down in line 14. Okay, so the buyer, that's your signature, as long as you are in that active LLC. And then on this particular slide that I'm showing you, the seller, there's only one line here and one date. That's if there's only one owner to that property. If there's multiple owners to that property, then there's going to be multiple seller lines here. So it's important, guys, that if multiple people own that property, all parties must sell. I have gotten myself in trouble before where the husband and wife both own the home and the husband was the only one to sign the contract. And I get to the closing date, and just because I didn't do a good job, I lost the deal. The wife was not in agreement to selling. So because I did not have her sign the purchase contract, I lost that deal and lost a great relationship with an investor that I sell homes to. So just keep that in mind, guys. Those are a few things with these purchase contracts. I really hope that you fill out tons and tons of these. As the more contracts that you send, the more contracts that you fill out, the more successful that you're going to be. So, guys, get out there and go get a deal. And now that you understand the purchase contract, there's nothing stopping you from taking that out to any seller that you might meet and getting a deal. We love you. We appreciate you. Now go get it, guys.